present your question.
Thank you, Laskin Corla. I want to ask you, Minister, about the commencement of the Beef Environmental Economic Pilot Scheme. If the terms and conditions of the scheme have already been drawn up and issued to suckler farmers, if agreement has been reached with the mart co-ops in relation to the weighing of animals for this scheme, and if you'll make a statement on the matter, please.
Thank you, Deputy. I launched the Beef Environmental Efficiency Pilot on the 30th of January. The launch was covered in the agricultural media. Applications for participation in the pilot will be accepted from the 4th of February, which was last Monday, to the 22nd of February. The terms and conditions and information on the process and application procedure are available on my department's website. The procurement process for the field service provider is ongoing. The necessary infrastructure will be in place prior to the opening of the timeframe for the submission of weights on the 8th of March. The Beef Environmental Efficiency Pilot is a targeted support for suckler farmers and is specifically aimed at further improving the economic and environmental efficiency of beef production. This is done by measuring the weaning efficiency of suckler cows. Building on the success of the Beef Data and Genomics programme, the data collected will also be a valuable addition to Ireland's already impressive cattle breeding database. The Beef Environmental Efficiency Pilot was announced in Budget 2019 as part of a €78 million package for the agri-food industry. As well as clear environmental and climate benefits, the scheme will provide farm gate investment at a time of market volatility and uncertainty relating to Brexit. I'm very conscious that 2018 was a very difficult year for beef farmers in terms of weather, fodder issues and market volatility. This is the sector that is most exposed to Brexit, given its reliance on the UK market. The initiative is designed to provide an injection of investment at a critical time for farmers navigating the challenges ahead while delivering in real terms on our climate objectives. The €20 million funding will be available will allow for payment up to a maximum of €40 per calf based on costs incurred and income foregone. If the scheme is oversubscribed, a linear cut may be applied. It is a pilot scheme for 2019 only, exchequer funded and operated under state aid de minimis provisions. The pilot has been designed to be as straightforward as possible and to ensure that the majority of the payment can be retained by the farmer. Application will be open to all beef suckler herd owners. The terms and conditions and information on the process and the application procedure are available on my department's website or from the beef scheme section of my department.
Can I get 1 minute?
And thank you, Minister, for your statement and your clarification, because as you as well know as I do, and Deputy McConlogue and others, Minister Dáil, beef farmers are under enormous pressure in this country at the moment. And while I welcome the opening up of this scheme, and it was something that Fianna Fáil pushed in confidence to supply, I suppose the first thing I have to say, it doesn't go far enough. I mean, €40 per calf is a start, but it's way down, and of course our bottom line on that is €200 per calf. So I want to know, Minister, in relation to the implementing of this scheme, what will the arrangements be in relation to the access of the weighing scales? This seems to be an issue with a lot of farmers. Has that been clarified? Has there an arrangement been made on that? And secondly, I want to say that we need to look at the reintroduction of the beef suckler cow welfare scheme. I think that it was a very important issue for beef farmers, and it should be looked at again in terms of the difficulty that that sector is going through at the moment.
First reply, 1 minute.
Thank you, Laskin Corla. Yes, the infrastructure will be in place in terms of the weighing scales, and it will be a nationwide network of scales that will be provided by the successful tenderer. That process will commence from the 8th of March. The ambition, and I'm confident that this will be the case, is that the hiring out of those weighing scales, or indeed the use of approved weighing scales by ICBF, if they're owned or available elsewhere, will enable the scheme to deliver the maximum amount of the funding to the farmers who are applying. We expect that the fee for hiring should be in the region of €50 or less. So you pick up your scales, you'll take it home and you'll run your cattle through your crush and weigh them as they step on the scales, record that data and send it back in, and then payment will issue before the end of the calendar year, looking at December 2019 for payment. I note the point which you make about not enough, and that's why I think it has to be taken in the round in the context of improved funding that we put into A&C as well over 2 years. You'll appreciate that that funding had been reduced. We won't go into the history of that, but that is the case. But I also note your continuing support for the concept of the €200 per cow. But I didn't see it in the alternative budget published by your party.
Final supplementary. And then
You know,
Deputy
I think
O'Keefe.
the one thing that we have to do here is really to ensure that this is a simplified scheme. You know, that if it's going to be tied up in red tape and if there are going to be issues over the scales issue, I think it's going to be a turn-off. And because the figure is seen as very low by the farming community of €40, a lot of them will opt out. The other thing I want to say to you, because it's an issue in my area, is the application online. Now, unfortunately, in my part of the country, in relation to broadband, we have really poor access. I think Roscommon itself is one of the worst counties in terms of broadband access in the country, and we need that national broadband, to be rolled out. So have you something in place to ensure that all farmers, those that mightn't have access to online, that they will be able to get the details of the scheme and know all about it and know about the dates that it's open now, the dates for closing off? I think it's really important and crucial that we address all those issues. And finally, what are your plans for the scheme if it's oversubscribed?
Final response from the Minister.
On the latter point, as I said, if it's oversubscribed, it will require a linear cut, but we expect the participation to be somewhat similar to the participation in BDGP, which at 500,000 would allow for the payment as envisaged under the scheme. But if it is oversubscribed, it will require a linear cut across the board. On simplification, it is very user-friendly. I mean, simply to apply, the farmers will just have to send their name, address and herd number to the department. That can be done online or paper application, so that deals with the issue of the online. I would point out, and I appreciate it took a lot of effort and cooperation by farmers at an individual level, indeed farm organisations, and a lot of work by my department. We did achieve last year 100% applications online for the basic payment system. So farmers are seeing the benefit of applying online as well, because it gives them the benefit of a free check. But there is, in the context of this scheme, a paper application process for both applying and for both submitting the data, but it can also be done online or by way of an app.
All right, next